Minister, look, I welcome this particular piece of legislation. I think we all do, because it's going to streamline the process for small business to be able to restructure and do it in a simplified and effective manner, rather than what is cumbersome and expensive at the moment, the examinership process. So I think everyone across the parties and independents here are fully in support of the thrust of this legislation. But in our haste to have this legislation enacted, you are creating anomalies which will be gone through with a fine-tooth comb at some stage in the future, and may have an impact on the viability of some of these particular businesses. Now, I want to raise one specific anomaly with you, Minister, that I think in the drafting you've made an error. And sadly, I didn't get the opportunity to get my amendment in time because of the bizarre situation where the amendments had to be in before second stage took place. But the bill, as it is drafted, borrows a section from the Perjury and Related Offences Act of 2021, which introduced an amendment. The Minister introduced an amendment at committee stage whereby directors may be liable to be found personally liable where an offence is committed by a body corporate with the involvement or facilitation of a particular director. Now, at the time that this amendment was brought in to the perjury bill by Minister Brown, he said that this is a necessary and a common provision in statutes such as this, whereby offences can be committed by a body corporate, but there stands an additional liability for directors if an offence is proven to be committed with their consent. It is important, therefore, that I make provision in the bill so that the offences of this type are overlooked. So we're talking about white-collar crime. So what we're saying in plain English is that directors of a company who make a false statement or are aware of false claims being made can be held personally liable for such a statement. And I think, look, we all agree with that, and that is again reflected in this legislation. However, the difficulty is that the penalty for the offence in this legislation is different to the penalty under the Perjury Act. So in this Act here before us, or bill before us, on conviction on indictment, a fine not exceeding 50,000 or imprisonment of a term of up to 5 years or both. However, the offence in the Perjury Act on conviction of indictment is a fine not exceeding 100,000 or imprisonment and a term not exceeding 10 years or both. So, Minister, here we have a very blatant anomaly between what is now enacted in law in the Perjury Act, and you've taken the provisions from that and incorporated them into this Act, and I welcome that. The difficulty is the penalties for the one offence are starkly very different in the two pieces of legislation that are being enacted within a couple of weeks of each other here in this House. So that needs to be amended before this legislation is enacted. Thank you.